From day one, when I first, got to that branch, I knew this dude was a superstar. He worked his way up, a leader in multiple different markets, six-figure earner.
They empower people to take care of people. I mean, I think you want to have the accomplishments in life, you want to achieve things in life, you're going to have to do it with people. You can't do it by yourself, no matter how much you try. Hey, you got to go get your success. You're the earner. I promise you, you're going to need somebody along the way to get you there. So why not help somebody succeed? And that's the greatest gift you can give.
Mr. Kevin Lee is here.
Kevin Lee.
Man, I appreciate the honor, appreciate the kind words to having me on your podcast.
Man, appreciate you for coming.
So, man, I'm ready to have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy this conversation.
Yeah. So, obviously, Kevin, you've done a lot of great things in your life. Now you manage millions of dollars worth of assets, again, six-figure earner. Obviously, great father as well. I guess to start off, what made you say yes to doing this podcast? But more importantly, what are you looking to give the audience today, and what can they gain from it?
Man, what made me say yes to this podcast, of course, our relationship, our connection that we have with each other, and just to empower people to take care of people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think if you want to have the accomplishments in life, you want to achieve things in life, you're going to have to do it with people. Mm-hmm. You can't do it by yourself, no matter how much you try and how much somebody embeds in your mind that, hey, you got to go get your success. You're the earner. I promise you, you're going to need somebody along the way to get you there. So why not help somebody succeed? And that's the greatest gift you can give. We said six figures. That's nice. That's great. Who doesn't want, the money and the earnings? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if you can only share it with yourself and your family, I mean, what you're doing it for at the end of the day, right? How deep do you want to be in your community? And some people don't want that. That's fine as well. But I'm a community person, right? I know how important it is to show somebody that's younger than me, same age as me, just anybody, like, hey, let's teach each other. Let's help learn something from each other. And I think that's what intrigued me about, this podcast, this segment, that we're trying to build a culture and a community that, hey, we might look different, we might look the same, we might come from the same background, different background, but we still got the same ultimate common goal is to have a well-established life, right? And to make sure the people that surround us is happy and taken care of.
Yeah.
I see why he's an influencer, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we not even 5 minutes in, he dropping bars.
Already. Community.
That's what's up, man. So I just want to talk about, man, I'm hearing like so much with just what you just said, but I want to talk about, man, you manage like roughly 30 people.
Yep.
An executive. Well, like we established six-figure earners. Like, with all that and what you just said, where's that come from, man? Like, what established that internally?
It comes from an early childhood, right? Being in sports. I started off in T-ball.
Yeah. Okay.
Being in the church.
Okay.
Okay. You don't realize how much that stuff sticks with you.
Yeah.
Until you use it later on in life.
Right.
Sometimes people forget the upbringings they have and don't realize that's a cornerstone. It was just the foundation, right? And as you continue to move through life, that was your pillar.
Yeah, that's true.
Your resource to go back and say, I remember when somebody helped me at the YMCA. I remember when somebody helped me at the Boys and Girls Club.
Wow.
I remember, having to go clean up the streets. We're forgetting the little things in life that actually made us who we are, right?
Right.
Going to pick up the trash on a Saturday. It taught discipline. It taught like how to take care of people.
Man, I'm just thinking about our last guest and just the commonality of like, all the successful men that we've had on the show. It stems back from like either church or sports.
Yeah. If not both.
You see what I'm saying? And that's really dope. But so you talk about like picking up trash and just being involved in the community. Now, I know some people who, it probably wasn't their thing, but what made that stick for you even to this day? Like, what, as a kid, what made you say, hey, this is what I like, I love this community piece, and it just stuck? What is it about you that sticks? If that makes sense.
It's just the involvement of seeing somebody smile, seeing somebody happy, right? Like, we could buy a lot of things in life, right? Some things I wasn't never privileged to have that I can have for my kids now, earnings, but it's still materialistic things, right? We take it back to the church, or you take it back. Material things are always gonna be here.
That's
they're gonna
true.
leave. They're gonna go.
Yeah.
But what you can't replace is a heart. What you can't replace is a person. What you
real.
can't replace is
real.
just empowering people to move forward, no matter what. You know, we all done went through hard times. And
Yeah.
we're still gonna go through hard times.
Right.
But tomorrow's gonna bring another challenge, right?
Right.
And it gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I could do this again, or I could try it, right? We just can't keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
For sure.
It just need to be a different mistake. Then you learn from it, right? And then you move forward.
You building it brick by brick.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So growing up in church, in T-ball, were you always somebody that was, because you're ultra competitive as
Yep.
well. Like, oh, by the way, Kevin has the #1 retention probably in the car company.
Dang.
And also,
Right.
what you number 5?
3.
Dang, well,
Come on, don't take my two spots.
I disrespect him
Don't
like
take
that.
my 2 spots.
Number 3 in the entire.
I see what you're doing here.
So like, by the way, so he's, so this was that competitiveness built during that time as well, or of early sports?
Well, to me, and this could go into a lot of different places. Winning is always not about the placement and the number, right?
Mm-hmm.
My competitiveness comes from me. Not to me. My competitiveness comes from I don't want nobody to be able to take nothing away from me, so I want to earn it.
Oh, that's I like that. I like that.
You mentioned my placement, on our rankings. You remember I started off my role at the bottom.
Right.
The dead last.
And I had to work my way up. But what can't nobody take from me is my work ethic that got me there.
Makes
Makes sense, right?
Right.
Nobody gave me anything.
Right.
Right. And I want to look for that. It's fine. I'm going to work. And I realized this as a branch manager as well. When you can really invest into it, can't nobody say, well, you cheated your way through it. Can't nobody say,
That's true.
Well, I helped you this way. And yes, some people helped me, but it felt good to earn it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like it felt good to say, oh
Right.
man, my blood, sweat, and tears paid off.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest piece of the competitive nature in me is I can sleep well at night knowing I put my best effort forward.
Right.
And this is how I got to the results.
Man, so nobody can take nothing away from you. That's
That's I'll take it from you, huh? Yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I get it because it's easier for somebody to do it when you try to take shortcuts. You know what I mean? Like,
They'll give you credit for it.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
tell you they make excuses of how you got there.
Right.
It's because this and this, because
Right.
this and that.
Yeah.
And then they make you second guess yourself.
Yep, that's
the end of
true.
the day,
That's
right?
true. So you're building your true self, man, based on like what we talked about, results, and just brick by brick, just building. Using your work ethics to build on, I guess, the things that you're good at and stuff like that, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's what's up, man. So I know we talk about, let's go back to like your childhood. I know we talked about like the community, church, the sports piece. What struggles that you might have gone through that caused this this fiery of passion, for people in community?
I don't look at them as struggles. To be honest with you, I'm a cup half full, not a cup half
feel you.
type guy, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, these are lessons, different things that help culture. So I'm the oldest of 3 boys in the family.
You the oldest?
The oldest.
Okay.
So from a
Okay.
single household.
Yeah.
As well. So it's just my mom in the household. So
Right.
that means I had to be responsible for 2 younger brothers. So
You know what?
not just the sports.
Right.
I had to kind of grow up quickly. That makes
Man.
but I don't, like I said, it's not that anything was wrong
Right,
or was
right.
bad, because I still had a great childhood.
Yeah,
My mom did well to make sure that we was taken care of.
Right.
I still played my sports, and so I never had a challenge, but I didn't realize how much that also was going to help me later on in life.
That's true. That's
I
true.
think too often we invalue the time we have at different segments of our life.
Right.
And like I told you earlier, you got to pull from the segments later on down the line. Like I remember had my first son, I remember working, and I remember having to call my dad and tell him, I appreciate you for teaching me a lesson I didn't realize I learned
Wow.
when I was a child. All it was he used to take me to Shoe Carnival, Shoe World, buy me the old white little, ugly shoes nobody want, right? Which was fine.
Right.
But he was teaching me that the money part of it is nice and the material stuff is nice, but my feet was going to continue to grow. I need to balance out my finances and expenses and everything. But I didn't realize that lesson was being taught until I got into my 20s and had my own child.
Right.
And I think that's what we don't do.
That's dope.
Is go back to different segments of our life.
Right.
And say, okay, I could pull from that bucket and utilize it over here and be successful.
That's fire. Bars.
Yep.
That's fire. I can relate. I can relate to you in those areas because I'm the oldest too.
Okay.
So it's just something about being the oldest and looking out for your younger, you know. And I think that passion grows too, and it evolves into like mentorship with other people, and wanting to see them, be the best. Because all in all, you care for your little brothers. Because I got 2 little brothers.
Okay.
You care for your little brothers. You want them to do better than you did.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that kind of transfer over into your adult life when you have someone you're mentoring and stuff like that. So I can definitely relate, man.
And what made it special for me too, the middle brother, he had cerebral palsy.
Oh.
So, like, had to try to teach him how to walk.
Yeah.
Different things.
Wow, man.
So it's not just I had somebody look it up to me. I'm a physical therapy at home, along with the physical therapy he was getting.
Wow.
Because we want to be successful. So a lot of things, like I said, I had a lot of lessons even when I was younger. My oldest son has cerebral palsy and epilepsy.
Wow.
So it's a difference when you have to be a caregiver.
Dang.
You learn a lot from being a caregiver because you got to have patience.
Yeah.
I mean, even, I'm going to be honest with you, even as a parent, now it's days that struggle. I saw my mom struggle. Like, because it's a lot on you where you got life and then you got to care for somebody. It's a difference of caring for a well-being person, right, or a child.
Right.
But when you got somebody that is 1,000% dependent because of a disability.
Dang, bro.
It grows you up a little bit more.
Right.
It makes you respect people a little bit more.
Man, okay. And that compassion, dang, bro.
Yep.
That's heavy. That's deep. That's what's up, man. I can appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy. It's crazy to hear because like one of the reasons why I was dying to get you on, right? Because like you have one of the best. I think you're the best when it comes to influencing and empowering your team to be able to accomplish a goal. And I think listening to that story and listening to your upbringing, it makes sense on why you're so good at it. Because hell, you've been doing it your whole life.
Yeah.
It comes naturally. Yeah.
Well, not just that. I started really learning that even as a leader now, my team can give me the answers to the test. I think too often we get in our roles and think that you're the only one that got the answers.
Right.
Because I done had the experience. Yeah, you done had the experience, and yes, you have the answers. But we forget that people are smart too. People have ideals.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
So if you listen to them, then you can start shaping the answer to get them there, right? And
Wow.
results.
Wow.
So I will tell you the biggest piece for me is just listening to the person in front of me.
Okay.
We talked about it earlier this week. Too often we listen to respond and not listen to hear.
Yeah.
The crazy part is we learned all these lessons. Y'all done heard these things before.
All the time.
But it's just like, when are you gonna put it in use?
Right.
Like,
Or even how do you put it in use?
Yeah. Well, practice. I mean, I keep it simple. I'm like you. I keep it simple. It's just practicing that. I give you an example. I had an employee the other day responded to me and said, "Hey, don't do that because of the reaction the rest of the team does." Now, in my head, I'm just always joking and playing anyway.
Right.
But imagine if I were to respond and to say, "Man, you tripping."
Right.
Then I would have made their opinion and their feelings feel invalid.
Wow.
Right? But I responded and said, "You're absolutely correct, I will." And then we had the next day, it kind of came up again, but instead of saying it out loud in front of everybody, I just whispered into their ear and said, "Hey, since you told me the other day not to do this, I'm just going to tell you one-on-one because it's still me. I still got to be me. I still got to joke and have fun." But, I respected the value of their opinion instead of just like, "Man, you tripping." Like,
Right.
I'm just playing anyway. Don't take me serious, but it was serious to them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Man, the humility though that comes, that I see here. What I want to ask you how. I know sometimes we can't really explain it, but how, like,
Making mistakes.
okay,
I ain't always been this person.
right.
Hey, me and him had some rough time. Hey, you know, he said all the great things in the beginning, which is great. And at the end of the day, I remember what it was 2 years ago. We was in St. Louis, and then we really sat down and really connected. Because the mistakes I made, I started reevaluating it and understanding, like, okay, he had his viewpoint, it was valid. I had my viewpoint, it was valid. Okay, how do we mix them together?
That's
Come
true.
to a common ground.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't reevaluate their day,
Right.
the steps throughout their day, and then they can't admit to, like, I could have did something different or better.
Right.
And like I told you earlier, you're gonna make a mistake. You just can't keep making the same mistake over and over
That's
again.
true.
Just make a different mistake, learn from it,
Right.
and then you move forward.
You know what's so crazy? You were the first person to teach me in my leadership role that it's okay to do things differently.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really what it boiled down to. Like, on why, like, you had your way that you viewed it, I had my way that I viewed it, and it's like, what's going, you know? But they both work.
Yep.
And like, and I was like, okay, boom, I gotta build. And I think as an area manager now, I give a lot more autonomy to my team because of you, because I've been able to, like, experience that and learn from it. All right, you know what? I don't have to be, even though I may be getting pulled in a different direction on how to, but, like, if it's working, why would I upset this person and, like, and it's not like a do or die thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
It's just like, I could give you 1,000 scenarios all the time. You'll probably get a lot throughout this. Math. You were taught that math can be done in 2 or 3 different ways.
Right. Yeah.
You'll still get to the same solution.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So think about the processes you do in life.
Right.
That it's going to take 2 or 3 different ways, but can you get to the same solution and outcome? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you value people's opinions.
That's what, you know, I was over here thinking while y'all was talking. I was thinking about a tool belt or a toolkit.
Yep.
Like, you know, when you listen to each other or, you know, your team, it's like you're grabbing more tools for your arsenal.
Yep.
You put more tools in your toolbox, you know, where you can now have multiple ways to fix a problem. It makes you that much better.
Yep.
Just by listening.
Yep.
That's dope, man.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
dope. But it takes humility, right?
Yep.
To be okay, you're right, or okay, I was wrong, or, you know, or let me try it your way. You know, that's really dope. That's really
You
dope.
get more ideas from your people.
Right.
You'll get more mindset because they're willing now to open up and share. And then it's not always about they're open up to share the positivity. They'll tell you more negative stuff. So now you can help shape them. If you don't create the environment for a conversation, then you will never know what somebody's actually thinking.
Let's talk about that, man. By you managing, it was around 30 people. Let's talk about the culture that you're creating in your arena. Like, what is the foundation or the basis of that culture?
First and foremost, let's make it easy. Keep it simple. Right?
Yeah.
People enjoy work, but people don't want to work. Who wants to work? Right. Let's just, you know, it sounds like it sounds like an oxymoron, right?
I feel you.
Okay, but you have to have work to have life.
Yeah.
And you have to have life to have work.
That's true.
You need both of them. So, you know, back in the days, you used to call it work-life balance. We want to call it work-life integration.
Okay, yeah.
How do you integrate both of them, right?
Yeah.
So, by integrating both of them to teach them how to balance, I deal with a lot of younger generation, right? So I had to remember, like, I used to be in the same shoes. And I think once you humble yourself and realize that you used to be that same, maybe immature, that same, I'm just trying to learn my way in life, I'm trying to get through, then you'll be able to help out a little bit more, and then you'll empower them to understand that. I don't think I use a lot of titles.
Okay.
I think that's what people get caught up to. Like, I don't walk in and say I'm the area manager.
Okay.
I remember being a branch manager, and one of our automotive detailers was like, I know you the branch manager, and I straight up had to tell him. I said, hey, I don't need you to clarify my title. I know what I am. Like, it's okay. Like,
Right.
But that's not what it's about, and people get caught up in that stuff. I always tell people that you could do the same thing I could do.
Right.
The only difference is, you know, for lack of better terms, you know, the crap hits me with the chunks and the lumps,
Right.
and you just get the water. You know what I'm saying? That's the catch. I get hit across my head harder, and at the end of the day, especially in our environment and our work, only thing that has changed is the technology. The same thing used to be almost 10 years ago. It's still the same thing we do today.
Makes sense.
But the only thing that changed was instead of having a carbon copy you fill out or the dot matrix printer, right? We got a tablet that just send an email.
Yep.
Make things easier, like you said.
So we make it more complicated. So if we're doing the same thing that we did 8 years ago when I started, and I know I was successful, why can't you be successful?
No, that's true. That's true. That's true. I wanted to eat. I'm sorry. I
No,
feel like-
no. I mean, and I'm gonna let you go. I would even say you should be more successful because it's
That much easier.
yeah, like it's that's when we got to paint the vision too.
Yeah.
No, I just like the way you talk about your culture and just make it easy. One of the things that Henry told me about was the way that you leverage your team.
Yep.
Can we talk about that in the term of that principle, making it easy? Can we talk about how you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I told you, who really wants to work?
Right.
We have passion to work. At the end of the day, I don't want to work. I didn't get promoted to work as hard.
Make
Right.
Oh, that's
You don't make you don't like you don't make
Yeah.
a lot of money to work as hard.
Right.
You know you do.
Right.
You know, like I said, it's a balance to that.
right.
So why not empower my team to be leaders across, not just in their locations,
Right.
make them leaders in the area. Because what that helps them do, if we go back to like my childhood, like I talked about,
Right.
if I played t-ball and baseball, football, I mean, I did band, I did whatever, any type of DECA club, all that stuff like that. What made me great at it is realizing that the makeup of the people contribute to the success of the team,
Ah.
right? So
Hold
just
on,
like-
hold on. You gotta let that breathe. Make up with I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
But if you think about it, like if I play third base,
Uh-huh.
I need to play third base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're depending on me to catch that ball to come down that line, and it's gonna come fast. So I got to have a quick glove.
Makes sense.
If somebody doesn't have a quick glove, why would I put them on third? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like why? It doesn't mean they're not gonna be good.
Yeah.
They might be a better catch on
Right.
first.
Yeah.
Ah.
And I think we lose putting the puzzle together. If that makes sense.
That's fire.
We
bro.
just expect everybody to do the same thing across the board. But once again, if we go back, keep it simple, we was all created different.
That's true.
Yeah.
We all got different attributes. We all
Right.
got different levels. And if you as a leader don't understand or learn the
Right.
competencies of your people, then that's where you create the struggle. Right? It's like that. What the chain is as strong as the weakest link.
Right.
So you got to know where to put a weak link on the chain in order to make it strong.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is this. We talked about this on the pod before where I used to work in banking, right?
Yeah.
And there was plenty of times where I felt like I was in a position where I wasn't as strong. But then there are positions where I am strong. But I think me being in that position, it causes me to just lose sight and just quit altogether.
Yep.
How do you handle that? Like when you employ someone and they're in the wrong, they're probably a strong first base, but they're in third base.
Yep.
How do you manage that? Like, do you put them in first base or how do you manage that?
Yeah, you have to move them to where they're strong, and you move them by accent. Remember, I told you they're gonna tell you the answer.
Yeah.
Hey, do you even like third? What you don't like about third?
What if they pride say, yeah, man, I can be good at third.
And then that's when you got to be honest with them.
Let's go. Authenticity.
Your glove ain't that fast, my guy. You got to go somewhere else now. But I got a home for you.
Yeah.
You ain't off the team.
Oh,
I just need to
my-
put you somewhere. And I think that's where, like I said, if I start with the questions first,
Yeah.
most people, like I said, I'm gonna give you a lot of scenarios. What I have learned is I have enough room in my life that I can take a step back. So that means by me taking a step back, I could invite somebody in.
Like that's fire, bro.
What you don't realize is a lot of people don't have room to take a step back.
Hey, we're gonna clip this up right here. Go ahead. Yeah.
They don't have enough room to take a step back.
Yeah, yeah.
So because of what I was instilled, what I have learned, when I'm willing to keep learning, is let me help somebody come off the wall. Because once they come off it, all you can do when you're on the wall is fight.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
Where else you gonna go?
Right. Yeah.
So people don't understand when people fight sometimes, it's because they just can't go backwards. So that means you have to invite them in. So now they'll listen to you, they'll understand you, they'll know you mean well.
Right.
That, hey, I'm not trying to hurt you any further. I'm just trying to get you some breathing room. I'm trying to be your oxygen mask.
I like that, bro.
well, I'm taking that tomorrow, but I'm using that.
So that's, if you
I like that, bro.
if you do that, it's gonna help. It's gonna relieve.
Dang. Bro, I don't even know what to say.
Bars.
Bars. I just want to, man, because a lot of stuff, man, I just want to really sit in it, man, because you dropping some heavy info right now, especially for like leaders who's looking to influence and empower their team.
Yep.
Like me.
But what'd you say?
You doing it now.
Like me. I'm trying to learn all the gems.
We did have the conversation weeks ago about retention, and you brought the guy of retention on the show. I
big
see what you're doing
retention
here.
man. Just he's killing it. Trying to get like him.
It's staying humble in that though.
Yeah. But I know y'all two have like things like that y'all both are good at, you know. So that's really dope. Man, a lot of what you're saying is really dope. Again, when it comes to like empowering your team and influencing your team, are there times where you have somebody toxic on your team? And
Absolutely.
And how do you manage that?
Man, I'm probably toxic sometimes. Just call it like it is. I'm probably toxic. But
What do you call it? Who's spreading like I guess toxin to the culture or whatever.
So, but even before I got into the role I'm in now as an area manager, like I said, I'm more of a let me paint a picture type guy. Like,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go back a little bit before I even answer the toxic part. Is understanding somebody's why. You know, we talk about that a lot. And I used to have a wall in my branch, and I went and got some stencils, some cardboard paper, and just made it simple. Think about it. Once again, here's the resources you had in life. Remember that board your teachers used to put up and stay after school, and it empowered you, and it was a visual learning.
Right.
So if we go back to learning and teaching, you have to understand how to capture somebody. Everybody's not an audio learner.
That's true. Right. That's true.
So you got to paint some visuals.
I can tell you study this, bro.
Well, just learning. Mistakes, just learning. Right?
Sorry, go ahead.
So my remember your why wall.
Right.
Sometimes you got to bring them back and let them pick out. Hey, tell me your why again. Let them see it. And then you got to come back. Hey, this is what you told me last time. Yes, it might have changed, but is that still your why? And just keep them focusing on their why to get them to understand. So to your toxic point, hey, you told me this was your commitment you was gonna give me. Why are you changing? What's going on? But it's easier for me because I already got that relationship where I can get the truth of why you toxic. And
Relationship. Okay.
I could call you out on that toxicity. But and it's a balance. See, in a corporate world, right? People want to know you're holding somebody accountable.
That's true.
But you can't let them know how you discipline them because of employee rights and all that stuff, right? So what praise in the open and coach behind doors or something like that.
I like that. Yep.
But you really need to learn the balance of the two. So you have to call somebody out in front of somebody sometime, but not enough where it embarrasses them
Right.
or make them feel less of a person.
Makes sense.
Because then it gives the crowd the understanding that this is not tolerated.
Right.
So when you call that toxic person out, what you think is gonna happen? It's gonna kill the culture of the toxicity, because I don't want to be called out like that.
That's true. Okay. So I'm assuming it's an art to that.
It is.
But what's the science behind it? Because
he got more tact than I do. I'm gonna tell you what. So I used to do a call. Anybody that was below a certain number, they had to get on this call and they had to explain why they were below this certain number.
Right.
Just say, I don't have to do that call anymore because people they didn't want to get called out anymore.
Right.
So we just stopped doing the call because people.
Oh,
stopped
so you
performing.
said like parameters.
But what I do think it was still a little embarrassing for them though, and it wasn't bad, but it was accountability,
Right.
And accountability ain't always bad, but so I would love to hear your tact because you got a lot more tact than.
Thank you. I mean, you can clarify that more than I can.
Man, I would say I do the same though. I think I still come to people. I almost feel like a dad sometimes. That makes sense. So I think that's what people are attached to, and it's what we call the sandwich method, right? Like you take two positive and a negative, and you kind of sandwich it together and make sure they still feel love. So I think the most important thing today is a recap, though. I think too often we don't recap whether it's positive or negative. So if you recap with somebody, and what I mean by recap too is not just to go over what you talked about, but hey, I still love you, right? I still care for you, right? You know how your parents used to tell you,
Yeah,
I hate to take this belt off with you, but I'm gonna have to do it now. But
It hurt me more than it hurt you.
Right. You know how they go, them old school things, right? So think about doing the same thing in a work or a coaching environment.
Right.
Hey, like I'd rather not have to have this conversation, but I got to have it, right?
I love that, bro. Cause I think I talked about this on the last. I struggle with not being straightforward because sometimes when it comes to being straightforward, I'm either white or black.
Yeah.
So it's really uncomfortable for me to be black,
Yeah.
So like that, I like the way you did that because it softened the blow. Like my intentions are that I don't want to have this conversation.
Yep.
It's hurting me to have this conversation.
Yep.
But I have to have this conversation.
Yep.
That's really dope.
And I go back. I mean, I just like y'all do this podcast, right? I'm pretty sure y'all listen to different influences,
Right.
I remember watching Keon Henderson, and he was speaking to his new members congregation at one point in time, and I love what he said on it. And I started taking this into like interviews or when I bring somebody on. He said, "All I ask is for you to give me 1%, and I earn the other 99%." And I said, that's strong because most people don't want to earn the other 99%. Remember I talked about that earlier this week. People expect for you to respect them.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Respect me because of my title. Respect me because of the money I made. Respect me because of the hustle I done went through.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
But at the end of the day, if I earn that other 99%,
Right.
I'm telling you in the beginning, I'm going to invest in you in time. And eventually we're going to get to 100%, but you're not going to be perfect today, but it's okay. I'm going to earn that other 99%.
Right. Okay.
Ain't that's good.
So, man, as far as the respect piece, is there any like tips you can do or just coming into an environment just being solid, or what does that look like?
So real quick, just coming here, right?
Yeah.
I came here relaxed.
Yeah.
We sit on the couch, got my relaxed clothes on. But out of respect, once I saw Henry, I said, oh, no, that's a respect thing, right?
Consideration.
So he set the
Yeah.
tone. It's not just a respect for embarrassment for me.
Yeah.
But this is you guys' show. When I saw y'all demeanor, then I'm going to change. So a lot of people don't understand you earn respect
I like that, bro.
by the simple stuff.
Yeah.
So like, if I want my team to keep their office clean, what you think my office got to look like?
That's true. That's true.
I can't just go tell them, hey, clean, and my stuff look nasty. Right? So that's to me how you earn respect. I had a scenario. I got a new employee to start on Monday. I'm not doing a lot of stuff. I'm not washing cars. I every now and then, right?
Right.
I'm just not a doer like that.
As you should.
Yeah. But I went back there for about an hour and a half, and I washed some cars.
Right.
And I did it not because I want somebody to pat me on the back, but I wanted his first day to be Great.
Right.
Let me show them how this is this. So I got my hands dirty.
Makes sense.
I also did it for my automotive detailers, so they don't always just see me telling; they see me doing. But I'm not doing because I have to do it. I do it because I want you to know I can get my hands dirty too. So to me, I earned their respect because my hands got dirty, but I earned their respect to that because I don't do it all the time.
Hey,
Do you just expect them to see that, or do you make it a point to like, hey, y'all see what I did today?
No, if you do that, you never earn it.
Right.
Right?
he said earn it. Yeah.
You would never earn it. I want to earn it. Like, hey man, and even then when they tell me I appreciate you getting back here with me, hey man, you don't owe me that. You don't owe me that at all. Because they also respect when I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm balancing out the respect of both of them.
I was gonna ask you that, but I didn't know if this question was too much. So I've done that before, right? What happens when people? I guess it turns into enabling. Like people now lean on, hey, I'm behind. Can you come here and watch this car? Cause
You better figure it out.
see,
but it's that black and white we just talked about,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
But I already set the tone of the presidents that, hey, don't expect for me.
Okay.
Because I believe I was hired to do a job.
Right.
Shouldn't nobody have to beg me to do a job.
That's true.
So I make sure they understand I hired you to do a job.
That's the same respect. Okay,
Right?
I like that.
So I expect for you to do this job.
Bro, there's a geniusness about you, how you balance authenticity and compassion at the same time. That's really dope.
Yeah, and it's just, people want that though.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. I want somebody to be real with me.
Yeah. No, for
But
real. Yeah.
They don't understand what real is, so you have to balance it out to understand like, okay, it is the compassion part.
Right.
I don't want to be real with you at times, and it's gonna hurt your feelings,
Right.
much as it hurt my feelings. But
That's true.
But remember, I said the recap, right? The wrap up. When you do hurt somebody's feelings, you still got to wrap it up and say, "Hey, I'm still here for you. We're gonna move it through, and I still believe in you."
I like that.
You know, I make it a point, even in the beginning. You know, I think when we hire people, if we don't make that connection right then and there, it's gonna be hard for you to hold them accountable later on down the line. So I go back to a lot of things. I mean, it's some great influencers out there. You got Deion Sanders. I remember telling one of our employees, like, at one point in time, I'm looking for some dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I need some dogs. On the team. You gonna be that dog?
Yeah.
And then he remembered and said, "Man, I told you I'm gonna be that dog, and I'm that dog."
Right. Right.
So if we don't make
right.
impactful moments and conversation, right? Then you can't go back and hold them accountable, because I think too many times we just tell somebody what to do and expect for them to do it right.
Nah, that's true.
Right? And then you have nothing to fall back on to say, well, what was the expectations I set with you in the beginning?
Right.
So why are we, or how did it go off the rails, and how do we get back on the rail? I think too often we just say, okay, you hired. Okay, you're a part of the team. You know what to do. And then set no clear expectations. So you can't do it with fairness. You can't do it with love. You can't do it with kindness. And just a little sidebar, I remember when I was trying to get into this role, you know, one of the biggest questions is, how do you define your management style? And most people always say direct. Would y'all say that's fair? Like most people say I'm a direct communicator, a direct manager.
Right.
I was like, okay, I am, but that's not all of me.
Right.
We don't think about that question deeper. So the way I describe my management style now is I'm direct but fair.
Man, I like that. Direct, fair, compassion, authentic. That's a good combination.
Explain that though. What do you mean by direct but fair?
Because I'm gonna just tell you like it is. I'm not gonna hold nothing back. But no, the same thing I'm holding you accountable for. I'm gonna be fair and hold you accountable.
Ah, that makes sense.
There's no bias in this. So you know how sometimes you get that manager to feel like, oh man, they just gonna look out for this person. That's their guy, you know, right?
Right.
Now I'm gonna be fair across the board. You will see the same me across the board no matter where I go, because I'm gonna be fair about my decisions, my mindset, my opinions, and there's no favoritism. I love them all.
Yeah.
Everybody on my team valuable.
Man.
I don't care where you could be, the lowest on the totem pole to the top.
Right.
Everybody on my team valuable.
Yep.
And when I told you in front of people, I have conversations in front of my team. I tell anybody on my team in a heartbeat, if you can't take care of each other first, I mean, this ain't the team for you to be on.
I like that.
Like, you don't qualify to be on my team.
Right. That's
It's just what it is, right? So that's direct. But I'm being fair about it because I'm giving you a fair opportunity to make a decision whether you want to take care of each other or
Right.
not.
Right.
man, bro. I'm really in awe over here because I'm saying that because again, like I told you, I struggle with the balance of being compassionate and authentic. But the way you are explaining it is really the same. If you really truly care, you can be authentic. I care about this team, and I want you to care about this team.
Yep.
If you don't, this ain't the team for you.
Yep.
So like all in one combination, you're being direct and fair. That's pretty dope.
And I'm telling them the tone.
Yeah.
Tell them what our tone is going to be.
Right.
Think about it. I'm telling them that you have to care on the team.
Man,
So if I'm telling you you have to care, then obviously you must know I care.
that's true. That's true.
Because I'm telling you how we're going to lead in the area.
Right.
And so when you go back to that toxic person,
Yeah.
I find myself not having too many. They have toxic moments. Who doesn't? Like I said, I probably have
that
some
makes
too.
sense.
But I find myself not having too many toxic people because I'm not playing the radio. You could go home. If you can't take care of people, this ain't this ain't for you. Like,
Yeah.
so don't come in. And it's okay. And I always tell people, you're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
We're gonna hate each other at times. We're gonna argue. We're gonna fuss. But it's that recap coming back around and saying, hey, you know what? I made a mistake.
Right.
Hey, how can we get better?
Right.
What can we do different? So we won't be in the same mistake over again because I'm in it for the same reason why you in it for. Everything stops. In our world where we work at, we have some hot topics that stops the day or stops the moment. I remember I had some employees the other day.
Next on Be More to Do More podcast.
The most important thing was come to my office so we can have this conversation. Well, how do we call ourselves family owned if we're willing to cut the legs off of people so quickly?
Let's talk about it. How you see your brother head down, you ain't lift him up, you just walk around him. How we tell our kids do better, but we never taught them how to go about it. When the last time you told somebody to keep their head up, 'cause you